and welcome to another session in the masterclass course. We are today focused on trends in sync and a market overview. We're going to be delving into stats right from 2020 through to today, and also a analysis on what the future looks like in sync as well for 2024. So let's begin. Okay, so a trend forecasting overview. After experiencing another year of growth through 2022, exceeding 20%, reaching $640.4 million US dollars, the opportunities in the sync industry are continuing to grow and waiting to be tapped into. In the highly competitive, oversaturated sync environment, the ability to predict trends is valuable. And syncs are often aimed at either fitting a trend, such as the recent demand for 80s music, thanks to pop culture hits like Kate Bush from Stranger Things, and echoed in 2023 with Depeche Mode, The Last of Us, or setting a new one like Dua Lipa and Billie Eilish original songs created for Barbie. On a macro level, music consumption on streaming platforms is shifting towards catalog. Music from the 2010s will lead the way, growing its stream count by 160% by 2028, but all decades are set to outpace new music for growth. However, many micro trends will continue to rise and fall and are currently driven by trends and syncs on UGC platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Ultimately, if a sync can tap into the right style at the right time, it can break an artist. Music supervisors and agencies increasingly take on the role of A&Rs, with some developing and mentoring their own pool of talent, as well as tastemakers and trendsetters. Music supervisors are working with labels to debut previously unheard singles in hit series such as Euphoria. For independent artists looking to take that next step, they may be better served working with a sync agency than a label. Epidemic alone posted a revenue of $575 million, roughly around $60 million for 2020. Over the next 5 years, I expect we will see an entirely new licensing paradigm emerge for Web3 metaverse. More and more apps and digital experiences leveraging music, and a continued strong growth in long-form content, for example, Netflix and Apple TV programming. So let's look at the 2023 in review. So 2023 has been an interesting year in the sync industry. There have been positives, negatives, and some impacts still to be decided. So here are the key trends, challenges, and opportunities from the past year. What are the impacts of the strikes? How to compete in an increasingly saturated market? How will the AI affect the sync industry? And the importance of having a global focus is key. There is a lot going on in the industry, and 2023 has presented many unanticipated challenges. But understanding these challenges will help us better anticipate and be prepared for what's to come next year. One key highlight from the past year is that the sync industry has shown that it can be flexible and develop new areas of growth. So we're going to delve into some of these key points. So what are the impacts of the strikes? So effects of the writer strike in the US are still being felt across the industry, with many synchronization opportunities being put on hold. The TV and film industries are likely to be caught in limbo for the foreseeable future as the actors' strike is still ongoing. While these strikes have presented challenges to the industry, sync businesses are finding new ways to adapt, sourcing new opportunities, and finding ways to maximize and capitalize on these opportunities. So some of the key takeaways. The industry is seeing a slowdown in film and TV opportunities, but this doesn't mean that they have to come to a full stop. A positive to this slowdown is that many other areas have seen an increase in demand for sync deals, such as gaming, advertising, non-scripted drama are experiencing a boost as these productions have been able to continue through the strikes. New opportunities are also arising, such as network branding sizzle reels, as networks are trying to market their current content to keep audiences engaged. But it's also important to keep in mind that once all the strikes are resolved, there is likely to be a massive call to action as TV and film companies try and make up for the lost time, and they will ramp up productions. So how do we compete in an increasingly saturated market? The sync industry is continuing to grow year on year with many opportunities and broadening markets being created. There is, however, a common consensus that the sync market is becoming oversaturated, as we've all seen that. There has been an influx of sync agencies and songs all competing for the same sync licensing opportunities. The opportunities are growing, but a consequence of the oversaturation is that fees are shrinking. This puts an emphasis on companies to work their catalogs more efficiently and effectively to stand out in the crowd. In an oversaturated market, long-term thinking is key. There are benefits to seeking out smaller but higher volume opportunities, as well as lower volume but high value opportunities. So some syncs with smaller fees can be looked at as planting seeds for future opportunities. So how will AI affect the sync industry? Well, it's big news for a lot of creative industries, which has been the advancement of artificial intelligence and how this will affect the industries. So Tim Hayes from Hypnosis suggests that AI is something that we should tentatively embrace rather than be feared. He goes on to explain that it may take a while for AI to directly affect the general sync business, but believes that there will be positive collaborations with AI, content creators, and rights holders to expand sync opportunities. In the near future, AI might be able to help agencies expand their global footprint, accelerating the process by having approvals semi-automated to expedite deals and avoid any delays, which can just be a great thing, really. So I think it's just a case of just adapting to it, which can take time. The importance of having a global focus is key. So the need to have a global focus is becoming imperative to succeed in the sync industry. A crucial aspect to the sync landscape is building trust and understanding the client's strengths and struggles. Being able to have cross-continental discussions with clients and partners builds trust and nurtures positive relationships that can lead to new opportunities. As new markets emerge and grow in importance, it becomes more critical to have a global reach. Over the next decade, it is likely that the US will remain the dominant market, but it is believed that the sync market will spread more evenly across the globe. There's likely to be a shift towards a global outlook on media rather than territory specific. So subscription video on demand platforms are continuing to grow, creating new opportunities in territories that previously weren't as relevant or lucrative for long-form media. Okay, we're going to look at some global stats. While the sync market will bounce back still from the pandemic over the next several years, and obviously from the strikes, growth will level off slightly as an increase in volume of sync is offset by a decrease in price. So most of music revenues come from advertising, which is 50%, followed by TV, 23%, film, 10%, games, 9%, and other forms of music revenues at 8%. The growth of content creation opens a new opportunity for micro-licensing, as 1/5 of global consumers now create content in some form. The next generation production music libraries are well placed to support these emerging opportunities of micro-licensing and non-DSP streaming. Production library revenue growth is outpacing growth of the overall sync market thanks to drivers such as the rise of the content creator, improved production music quality, artists seeking post-DSP income, and the growing independent sector. For sync players to take advantage of the rapidly expanding use cases for sync, licensing processes must become much more dynamic and turnkey. It is common for tracks to have multiple songwriters, usually on multiple publishers, and the laborious process of tracking down and securing permission from each one. The sync market also depends heavily on personal connections, leading to a lack of pricing transparency, which is the benefit of the sellers. So where do we think this is headed? Production libraries and one-stop sync agents are leading the way. This proposition is fourfold. So it's higher quality curated libraries, pre-cleared self-serve licensing, affordable subscriptions, ability to offer artists new forms of revenue. As this report demonstrates, it is, at least for now, libraries which are best set up for the dynamic sync environment that's emerging, creating new competition with the established market structure. Despite a new halt in growth during the pandemic year and with the strikes, global sync revenue is set to more than double by 2030. As more aspects of life continue to move online, such as live stream concerts, virtual fitness classes, UGC apps, and the metaverse, the content creator sphere explodes. The music industry is moving even beyond gaming and TV to soundtrack the next phase of the internet. And as a result of the recent boom in catalog investment, there is also a surge of new interest in using sync to market old artists and songs to new audiences. All these opportunities will drive sync towards becoming more dynamic, frictionless, self-serve, and customizable. However, music's complex licensing frameworks are holding back some of this growth, opening a space for production music libraries and independent creators to compete with commercial music. All right, in our next session, in the next part of sync overview and trends, we're going to start to look at avenues to license. And so I hope you have found the info really informative so far, and I look forward to delving further into the sync licensing and all the current up-to-date information. I look forward to seeing you there.